Go.
Okay, so I had the 80s. It was the decade of great TV.
Oh my god.
The monopoly of ABC, CBS, and NBC was breaking up, so TV shows and networks like CNN were starting to arise. TV was a commonplace in the home. Over 82% of adults watch TV daily. So I picked 3 shows to really highlight the 80s: The Cosby Show, Family Ties, and Roseanne. Okay, The Cosby Show.
Guys, we're recording.
You guys are jerks.
Why don't you just go into the ninja room?
Because
Why don't they go into the ninja room?
it's fun. Okay, The Cosby Show premiered in 1984 and aired in 1992. It featured Claire.
I can't.
What do you do?
They put like 7 cookies in there.
4 cookies in there.
Caitlin!
Cookies.
Anybody want to go to the house? No.
Okay.
I gotta use a big spoon.
The Huxtables were Claire and Cliff Huxtable. The Cosby Show centered around Bill Cosby and his stand-up act. Even though the
Do you want to stop?
No, I don't. I want to stop. I'm gonna get through this. The Cosby Show centered around.
Bill Cosby? Man, I never really get that.
It's a situational comedy.
Oh, now you really can't do this. You just ruined the whole video.
Did you hear that?
I heard it over here.
I didn't hear it, but
What
we're
happened?
way over here.
Okay, it's contrasted with typical sitcoms of the time because it didn't have punchlines or one-liner jokes. It's more like finding comedy in everyday life and humor and situations that just happened. This was when you would cut to the YouTube video about that's on the PowerPoint. Okay. So it had a very free-flowing structure. It wasn't really like articulated. It kind of just moved around. It was very loose plot line. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is portraying the typical black family. The Cosby Show set up to portray the typical black family in a different light, in a more favorable way than typically viewed on television, like in shows Good Times and Sanford and Son. The Cosby Show set out to give the Huxtables a particular mix of qualities, things like a really strong male father figure and fiscal responsibility, kids with multiracial friends, focus on education, low-key racial pride, and a strong nuclear family. A lot of people criticize the Cosby Show because it says that it's the all-American dream, but it's like not realistic for black families to look at that and be like, oh, I can be like that, because they couldn't at the time. But then a lot of black families said that they didn't think of it that way. They thought it was a nice change, that they thought it was a good way to have blacks portrayed as not these like low-key people, but as this like successful, determined family. The Huxtables and the Cosby Show had a really clear moral direction, and this can be moved back to Bill Cosby and his crusade to really he likes to go talk at colleges and places and talk to young black males about not letting their race or anything stop them from accomplishing things and being successful. And so in the Cosby Show, the moral values can be traced back to parental roles and child roles. The parent role was to create this nice, structured, strict yet loving environment for the kids to grow up in and be sheltered yet still explore the world. And the children's role was to really absorb the information and not just go around not listening to their parents, but to really respect them and do what they. I don't need that card. You're good. And just really absorb what their parents were telling them. Okay, so in the next show is Family Ties. Family Ties premiered in 1982 and aired in 1989. It was a domestic comedy based on 2 hippie parents with 3, later 4 children, and it balanced fictional imagination with historical significance, because at that time it was typical of the Reagan era, because it was a conservative younger generation, which was displayed by the son Alex P. Keaton. And then the really liberal parental generation that was displayed by the parents Elise and what's the name. Anyways, so like their parents were really liberal and they were activists in like the 1960s. People were going crazy with like romance and everything. So like in the scenes you'll see like them like getting all affectionate, and then they're like kids coming in like, oh, get a room, that's gross. And then so that was like portraying that time period. So as I said, Michael J. Fox played Alex P. Keaton, and he was the boy with the briefcase. He was, and his personality conflicted with his parents because he really wanted to do all these social conventions that were conservative, and he wanted to be like this really professional man when his parents were like a freelance architect and journalist, and then like a TV radio show manager. Anyways, so this can be shown in the first episode when Alex is really into this girl that's like this blonde bimbo Barbie doll, Kimberly Blanton, and she invites him to go to a country club with him, and his dad doesn't want him to go because it's like an exclusive club and it's really discriminatory and it's restrictive. But he goes anyway because it's like one of the social conventions that he'd like to go do, like this typical country club where he can get all fancy and be like the elite class. So when he like comes home, him and his dad get in a fight, and it's like where the moral value kind of comes into, because they like come together and like reach a compromise, like, yeah, you shouldn't have gone because it's not right, because that country club isn't like, it shouldn't be socially acceptable. And it's like, I fought my whole life to have, and I was really active in like civil rights. Like, why would you do that? Okay. Alex was this like clean-cut, determined model entrepreneur, just like a lot of children of that generation. And then like Mallory, the older daughter, she was like really into fashion and boys and unable to keep up with Alex. So she was just like the stereotypical, like, oh, I'm just gonna go for all. And then Jennifer was the younger girl. She was intelligent and spunky, just like Rudy in the Cosby Show. So they were just like comedic relief in a lot of TV shows at the time, because they would like come in and like have this like witty comment or like bash on their siblings about their problems, or like there's a problem at the beginning of the episode, they would offer a solution, and then at the end, that's probably what they would end up doing to fix the problem. And Family Ties, like their family dynamic, it was still loving with the moral hint, but it was very articulated and structured and more planned than the Cosby Show, like free-flowing structure. Okay, and then we have Roseanne. Roseanne premiered in late 1980s and then went on to 1990s, and it was a springboard from the Cosby Show in that it's still situated off of this stand-up comedian, like Bill Cosby, but it was like this polar opposite with the family dynamic, because the Cosby Show had the strong father figure where Roseanne was a strong mother figure, and she was the sarcastic, really like dominant force in the household. And then their family dynamics were really different from the Cosby Show too. Like with the Cosby Show, it was like this really loving and nurturing, like we really get along with each other. But in Roseanne, it was this like sarcastic, bashing on each other all the time, really dysfunctional kind of. But it still had like these little moments of like sentimentality where you didn't question their togetherness. So they were like unequal with the Cosby Show in terms of like their unit, but they're still. And it was a different way of portraying like how they interacted with each other, and it was more realistic, and it wasn't the stereotypical like, we're a family, so we're all gonna be best friends. So yeah. And they were also a switch in like Family Ties and Roseanne, they were like working class, blue collar, but then Cosby Show was very like well off, rich people. Okay. Do you have any questions, Alec? Okay. You have a question?
I have 3 questions.
Okay. State your question.
What is your favorite 80s show that you picked?
The Cosby Show.
Okay.
You ever seen the Cosby Show? Actually?
Yes, I have seen the Cosby Show, Alec.
Don't you see her Cosby sweater?
Good sweaters.
Okay.
Is your family more like Cosby's, Roseanne's, or Family Ties?
Roseanne.
What was that?
That's racist.
You're definitely the Cosby.
We're not the Cosby Show.
We're the Brady Bunch.
We're not the Brady Bunch.
Okay, I have another question. Did you choose all family-centered, I put family and centered together, shows for a reason?
That was the assignment.
Oh.
It's like, well,
Good
yeah,
job,
it was
Caleb.
like analyzing family TV
Oh,
and
family
dynamic
TV.
and how it like changed throughout generations and how like it displayed like how life was going on and the American dream and everything.
And I provided a disclaimer.
A disclaimer.
Good job, Caleb.
Filling with 13 people in wooden cabin, no privacy, boys do not keep quiet well. Yeah. That's about right.
Hey. That's